I'm a 29-year-old company employee. I'm still a newbie, having only started working for a company 2 years ago. My family runs a small coffee shop. After graduating from middle school, I didn't go to high school but instead helped out in the shop. Due to the recession, the shop wasn't doing very well, so I decided to get a job for my future. With no particular skills and just being a middle school graduate, I learned how to use a computer to gain some skills for job hunting. I helped in the shop during the day and studied tirelessly at night, even sacrificing sleep, and managed to obtain a few qualifications. Alright, now my resume looks somewhat decent. The qualifications section of my resume, which was once blank, is now filled. However, finding a job was tough because I only finished junior high school, but I was lucky to land a job at the food manufacturing company I currently work for. The employees are all nice, and they've been kind to me with no prior work experience, patiently teaching me the job. But there was one person who didn't think well of me. That was our section chief, Tina. In her mid-30s, she has a rather intense beauty, and unlike me, an elite graduate, Tina graduated from a famous university even I, a middle school graduate, know of. Moreover, being the section chief, she is capable at her job. However, Tina was harsh on employees she didn't like. She clearly disliked those who didn't listen to her, were timid and couldn't speak their mind, and those who were inefficient. Especially, Tina cared about educational background. Confident in her own, she was strict with others. It must be because she had studied diligently. The moment she found out I only finished middle school, she whispered in my ear, "Working with an idiot, I'm so pitiful." There was even a time she mocked me, saying, "You, getting married is utterly impossible." Of course, I was earnest in my job, but not being naturally efficient, I was slow and made mistakes when starting new tasks. While other employees kindly covered for me, Tina would say things like, "That's why you're no good," or "See, people who didn't study can't do their jobs after all." I wasn't the only one she picked on, but I had it the worst. I knew part of the problem was my inability to learn quickly. I kept telling myself that and endured Tina's verbal abuse. There were times I wanted to quit because of the harsh treatment, but I had sources of motivation. One was the lunch my parents made for me. I bring a lunchbox from home every day. The contents are dishes served at the shop. Hamburgers, pasta, potato salad, special cafe menu items packed into a lunchbox. Though I've eaten these dishes since childhood, the dishes my parents made were genuinely delicious. Eating them felt like they filled me with energy. My colleagues often asked me to bring them lunch too. And then, there was my other source of motivation. It's the presence of Rachel. Rachel is the daughter of the company's CEO. She's 4 years younger than me and currently supports the CEO. Rachel isn't exactly a beauty, but she has a gentle personality and an attractive smile. When we pass each other at work, she notices small changes like, "Oh, your tie color is different from usual today." My parents' homemade lunchboxes are popular among the employees, but Rachel especially praises them. "This chili con carne in today's lunch is the best." Watching her enjoy the food, my feelings for her grow day by day. But even so, our positions are quite different. I know harboring romantic feelings for her is unlikely to lead anywhere, but having someone I secretly admire at work makes my days more enjoyable. Tina, while being polite to Rachel on the surface, speaks her mind behind her back. She might be the CEO's daughter or whatever, but she can't really work. It's such a nuisance. That kind of woman is only good for her position. That's what they say about people like her, and she isn't that pretty either. Hearing this, other employees would respond with, "Yeah, that's true," or "She's not as efficient as you, Tina," but their faces clearly showed they were troubled by the conversation. Gradually, I started getting the hang of the job, and it became enjoyable to see my abilities grow day by day. Tina continued to be harsh on me, but I got along well with the other colleagues, leading to a relatively enjoyable work life. Then, one day, after successfully negotiating with a client, I was enthusiastically praised by my boss. The client was a tough one to agree to a contract with. Their representative said, "I was moved by your passion. I definitely want to do business with a company that has employees like you." Securing this contract led to recognition throughout the company, and for the first time, I felt like I had achieved something significant. However, one person seemed to find this annoying. Of course, that was Tina. Actually, it seems Tina had failed in that negotiation with the client, which must have been quite frustrating for her. The fact that I, whom she had always belittled, successfully secured a deal she couldn't, must have been hard for her to accept. Since then, Tina's treatment of me became even worse. She would say, "This order form has the wrong product number. Redo it in 10 minutes, or you won't have any break time," making me redo work even thought there was no mistakes, or come to my desk and rush me, saying, "Too slow, aren't you done yet? I've been waiting forever." This made me panic and led to more mistakes. Then Tina would get angry. "See, you made another mistake. You might have speeded up, but making more errors is pointless." In my mind, I blamed her for rushing me. The other colleagues looked at me with pity but were too afraid of becoming targets themselves to help. I heard that several employees had quit because they couldn't stand Tina's bullying. I've considered quitting due to the harassment and finding a job at another company, but this one offers really good terms and comprehensive benefits. Moreover, as someone who only graduated from junior high, it's unlikely that I would quickly find another job if I started job hunting. So, I had no choice but to endure. One day, while living my daily routine, something happened. "I need this finished by noon today. Think no break if it's not done by 12 o'clock, I was told, and handed a massive stack of order forms. There's no way even a veteran employee could finish this by noon. In fact, it's probably a day's worth of work. I protested that this was impossible, but Tina just said, "No backtalk, just get to work quickly," and then disappeared somewhere. She probably went to touch up her makeup before lunch. Irritated, I reluctantly started processing the order forms. Of course, I couldn't finish in time. The clock hands pointed to 12 o'clock. Maybe I'll have lunch now. From 12 o'clock, it's the designated break time. I hurried to the break room. Entering the break room, I placed my lunchbox on the table. Employees gathered around, peeking at my lunch and saying, "That looks delicious today as well." One of the lunch orders got canceled because they couldn't make it back from a meeting. "Here, have this if you want." "I'll take a bite. Let me have the pasta and this special sausage roll." "Then I'll have the salmon sandwich." "Ah, it tastes nostalgic." "You can't really make this kind of food from a cafe at home, can you?" Seeing everyone's smiles from just a little bit of food made me genuinely happy. While enjoying lunch and casual conversation, someone approached with loud heel clicks. "Ah, those footsteps, in comic book, they might describe this presence as oozing with a velour." I felt a chill down my spine. It was Tina. As soon as she saw my face, she spoke in her usual harsh tone. "Hey, if you're taking a break, that means you've finished the order forms I asked for, right?" Realizing the situation, I answered honestly. "I hadn't finished yet, but I've completed all the urgent tasks. I plan to finish the rest in the afternoon." I responded calmly and matter-of-factly. Then, turning my back to Tina, I continued my lunch. My actions must have really annoyed her. Tina snatched away my lunchbox. "Eating comes later. Work is more important. Get back to work," she said. The other employees tried to calm her down, saying, "Come on, Tina," but she was too enraged to listen. Glancing at my lunchbox, she mocked, "I heard your cafe running parents made this, but it looks like just an ordinary lunch anyone could make. In fact, it even looks unappetizing. No wonder your shop isn't thriving." I couldn't stand her belittling my parents. I couldn't help but say to Tina, "Please stop making fun of me, and could I have my lunchbox back?" Angered by my response, Tina's face turned red, and she poured tomato sauce all over my lunch. "Hey, what are you doing? This cheap-tasting lunch needs tomato sauce to be edible. It suits a junior high school graduate like you," she said. Her actions shocked the other employees, who remarked, "That's going too far." Tina snorted, "It's the stupid employee's fault for angering me." My anger turned to disbelief at her childish behavior. She stood triumphantly, smiling smugly. I was about to say something to her. Just then, "You're the worst," a loud woman's voice echoed throughout the break room. I looked, and saw it was Rachel. That day, Rachel had ordered a homemade lunch from my parents. Not every day, but just on Mondays and Wednesdays. Rachel didn't always come to the office on other weekdays, so she only ordered lunch for days she was certain to be at work. Since it was Wednesday, I had brought an extra lunch box for Rachel. Luckily, her lunch was still safely stored in the break room fridge. Rachel, upset by Tina's food tampering, angrily said, "Tina, this is too much. Apologize to Max right now." But Tina, unable to contain her anger, retorted, "Just because you're the CEO's daughter doesn't make you so high and mighty. I'm older and more knowledgeable in work." Everyone around was stunned by Tina's words. Rachel's eyes were red with anger. Then, a large man in a black suit blocked the view. "What's all this noise about?" The voice belonged to the CEO. He was always in the office on Mondays and Wednesdays for client meetings. His office wasn't far from the break room, so he had heard the commotion. Even Tina was panicked by the CEO's arrival. The surrounding employees spilled everything that had happened. The CEO muttered, "I see," and said, "Tina, I wanted to talk to you about something. Could you come to my office for a moment?" "Yes, sir." With that, Tina was taken away by the CEO. "Really, what a terrible thing to do," I muttered. Rachel then said, "I'll eat something else, so please have the other lunchbox, Max." I wanted her to eat it, so I said, "No, please have the lunchbox, Rachel, and consider it a thank you for helping me today. No need to pay." Then Rachel suggested, "How about we share it?" Initially surprised, I was persuaded by her, and we ended up enjoying the lunchbox together that day. Soon after, Tina was demoted from her position as section chief. The reason, of course, was her relentless power harassment towards her junior colleagues. Initially just power harassment, lately, Tina had been slacking off work, dumping it on her junior colleagues. Apparently, her negligence in duties was the final straw. Tina was relegated to a branch office, infamously known as the graveyard. However, rumors about her had spread even to that branch, and finding the environment hostile, Tina left the company within a month of her transfer. Since Tina's departure, I've been able to work more freely and comfortably. After a while, I was suddenly called by the CEO. In the CEO's office, Rachel was also present. Sitting on the sofa, feeling anxious about whether I did something wrong, the CEO said, "Thank you for always providing delicious lunchboxes for Rachel." Then he added, "Actually, I've occasionally helped myself to them too. That food is truly exceptional. It somehow reminds me of her cooking." It seems he was referring to his wife. Rachel's mother had passed away due to illness when she was 5. Rachel always loved the bolognese pasta her mother made, and she said she still remembers the taste and hasn't forgotten it. Coincidentally, that taste closely resembled the bolognese served at my parents' cafe, reminding her of her mother. After the CEO finished explaining, he said, "Anyway, the delicious lunchboxes are great. I have a request," and proposed the following. He wanted me to provide lunchboxes on a larger scale for the company employees. Of course, our cafe wasn't selling lunchboxes. We did catering, but not frequently. For that day, I responded, "I'll discuss it with my parents," and they agreed quite readily. Rather, my mother was enthusiastic, saying, "I'm so happy to be praised so much, I'll work even harder from now on." My father also expressed his appreciation, remarking, "It's really a blessing." Since then, my parents began providing lunchboxes for the company. The CEO, impressed with the taste, introduced my parents' shop through his wide network, and now it's thriving more than ever. Furthermore, the lunchbox became a catalyst for me and Rachel to grow closer, and recently we even started going out for meals together. While I'm hesitant to convey my feelings, I hope to gradually build a closer relationship with Rachel, taking things slowly. Of course, I'll continue to work hard at my job too. I look forward to a fulfilling life in both work and romance.